What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for listening to Your Ex-Drinking Buddy. My name is Brennan Tassif. I'll be your host. Subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcast. Check out the merch store at brennantcomedy.com/merch-store. And make sure you subscribe on YouTube as well. We'll put the shorts up there, the full video, the whole thing. Thank you so much for listening. I love it. I hope you love it. Subscribe on Patreon, too. We do bonus episodes. I do Tales from the Restaurant, where I talk about celebrities I've waited on and whether they're assholes or not, which is super fun. Also, we do a pre-show banter for my other show, Cheers from the Press Box with Joe Dorville. A lot of behind-the-scenes stuff going on over there, too. Make sure you just subscribe everywhere, just all over the place. I greatly appreciate it. And if you're not leaving the mean comments, thank you for that. Maybe leave a couple nice ones.
Grab me a beer and grab him a coke. We about to sit for an hour, bullshit and tell jokes. And please don't mix it up, cause he done sobered up. Brennan T Comedy on your social media feeds. And Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. I'm your host, Brennan Tassif. If you're new to the program, quick rundown of the show. I used to be everyone's favorite drinking buddy. It was my favorite thing to do, hang out with friends, get drunk, do drugs, get in all sorts of trouble, and then reminisce about those crazy stories. I am sober now, but it's still one of my favorite things to do, hang out with somebody and reminisce about the crazy old days. Most weeks I'll be joined by guests. This week is no exception. All the way from Astoria, New York, Aislinn Janek.
That's me.
Nailed it.
You got it.
Also
First try.
nailed it. You have a very unique name.
Thank you. My name is literally Aislinn Johnson. Like Aislinn is just Gaelic Aislinn.
Okay.
And then Janek, Jan is John in Czech. So it's actually like a very basic name. That's how you say it.
It is fascinating because my name obviously is not as unique, but it's a little Brennan. Mm-hmm. So I get Brandon, Brian, Brendan, and I go, it's just Brennan. It's not even that hard.
People don't
It's
read.
phonetic.
People don't read.
Before we get too far in anything, plug everything up front. Let everybody know where they can find you, all sorts of stuff.
You can find me on Instagram. My comedy Instagram is Absinthe Leaf. And I'm also a painter, and my painting Instagram is my first and last name, which will be linked.
It'll be linked in the show
I'm not going to
notes.
spell it out for you.
Yeah, so I wanted to have you on. We ran into each other a bunch, and then you were gone for a little while.
Gone for a little bit.
And then you're back. And I was like, oh, shit, we got to get you on the podcast because you've been on some wild adventures lately.
I have, yeah.
You went to Japan.
I was in Japan for 2 months. I was there for an artist residency. For the most part, I was there to paint, and I learned how to make paper there.
Okay.
Yeah, and I had
Like canvas or like paper?
actual paper,
Okay.
like from fiber, and yeah, that was probably that was a really cool day when we did that, and yeah, so I was just there.
What prompted you to go to Japan?
I've been flirting with Japan for a while. I had another artist, a Japanese artist, recommended this residency to me, and I had met her in France, and at another residency, and so I was looking for a way to get over there. I think that my work visually is very minimal, and
What is your medium?
my medium. So I paint with acrylics and I use threads.
Okay.
So it's mixed media and it's sewn through the surface of the canvas.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're not just like doing watercolors on because my ex-fiance, she could paint pretty well.
Yeah.
So she would paint me like, I was big into villains, still am. So like the Joker, Darth Vader, all these stuff. And I'd look at them and I'd be like, these are awesome. But then I go to the Met a lot now, and then I look at like real art, and I'm like, this is different. This is different than. So you do the different stuff. You do the highbrow
Well, it's definitely
stuff.
contemporary. It's abstract. It's very minimal right now.
You know, I like to do minimal. It's my thing.
I do in everything too. Like even my stand up is very short, like setup, punch. Like there's not a lot of filler.
Just the whole thing. You go up there with a tiny piece of paper. Like people are going up there with full notebooks. I always go up with like a little pad like this.
Yeah.
People are looking through their phones. You have a tiny, and audience, for those of you who are not listening, it's probably like 3 by 3 inches.
Little Post-it.
Little post-it, and you just go up there, and that's all you look at. You're Not a lot of. It's all very minimal.
Yes.
So is that something we're going to get into it because whenever I have an artist on, and highbrow this podcast, we have a real artiste on. I'm going to say it.
Thank you.
So a couple of things. I always ask my guests how they got into whether it's acting, music, comedy. You do both. You are an actual visual artist,
yeah.
And then you also do stand-ups. You are a wordsmith as well. What did you get into first?
Painting.
Okay.
I've always considered myself a visual artist. I would say since I was 15 is really when I started to make work at school, in high school, which was funny because I didn't actually have art class.
Okay.
I was just in the art room all the time. I really connected with my high school art teacher, and he was a very important mentor for me.
Yeah.
And I think that's just one of the things that made it fun for me.
How did you find it? Why were you always in the art room?
Because I was trying to get the hell out of my other classes.
Okay, no, but I mean, honestly, that's,
yeah.
these little details always fascinate me because sometimes I'll be like, first people will be like, how'd you find stand-up? And they go, oh, I just went to an open mic. And it's like, no. Stand-up is very niche. Like, how did you even find it?
Yeah.
So for you, art obviously is much broader because there's so many different mediums to it. Medium? Media. There's so many different. I'm learning so much.
It's Latin.
I was going to do an impression, but I'm trying to cut back.
Mediums is very
trying
acceptable.
to cut back on my Trump
I also
impression.
say mediums, yeah.
So how did you have a proclivity for it, or did you just end up in the art room because you were trying to skip other classes, and then the art teacher took you under their wing, and they were like, hey, why don't you try this?
Yeah. So first, so my mom was the chemistry teacher at the high school. So I've known the teachers since I was young. So it's it's not like I met him in high school. It's he's known me growing up. So that's one thing. I don't know. I guess I was not interested. It's not that I wasn't good at any of their classes, because I think wherever you put your focus is where you start to thrive. And I think me and him had a good friendship, and then on top of it, it was oh, he's gonna show me how to make all these things.
Now, were you a doodler and stuff when you were a kid? Were you always coloring and painting and stuff, or was this your first real exposure to it?
Oh no, I think always making work, making not work at the time, making art or
just always making art since you were a kid.
Yeah, I think, and I also think that we're all makers, and then at some point, through school or through the economy now, we're forced to be unmakers.
So
or
this
whatever.
is an interesting point that you bring up. I was reading a book, Rick Rubin's book about creativity. It's called The Art of Creativity.
Okay.
And the reason I stopped reading it was because in the first chapter, he was everyone's a creative. If you take a different path, if you take a different route to work, you're creative. You're creating a new route. And I was I'm out. What I do is hard. Not a lot of people can do it. And a lot of people won't stick with it. I'm not fucking doing this. But you're also making the point that it's almost human nature to be a creative.
Yeah.
And then it's almost beaten out of you as you grow up.
Right. If you look back at textiles and that type of work and how that was functional for society, how you had to make clothes, but at the time that craft and that art was people's jobs and livelihood as well, which is not the same anymore.
And now it's a bunch of bros doing crypto. So when did you find stand-up?
Well, I've been a fan of stand-up for a long time.
Okay.
And I remember being a child and seeing Ellen DeGeneres, her special, with she has this bit about the airplanes and the seats reclining and dead alive, and and I was that's hilarious. And
so did you find it just perusing, just flipping through channels on cable, or were you on your phone? Or,
yeah, no,
because you're younger
cable.
than me. But...
Yeah, but not that much younger.
Okay.
I'm 32.
Okay.
And
so we were clicking.
Yeah, it's click. Well, yeah, and we didn't have cable TV at my house.
Where did you grow up?
In Ohio.
Okay.
Youngstown, Ohio.
Shout out Youngstown.
Shout out. And
great.
So it
Division III football team there. Youngstown State.
Oh, okay. I graduated from there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They've won like every Division III national championship,
okay.
like every single year. They
Nice.
destroy people. You didn't know that?
I did not know. I only attended that school on campus for one semester.
And then everything else was art.
Well, I was online. Actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can. It's a story. What was the question? What was
So
I talking about?
you're growing up in Ohio.
Oh yeah.
You don't have
no
cable.
No cable. And okay, so when we're on vacation, that's when I have access to like cable.
Yeah.
And so
Hotels have HBO and stuff.
Yeah,
So you're like,
exactly.
let's
so
go.
like, so I see specials. I see Dave Chappelle, his Chappelle show.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't understand that show at all as a child, but I was like, okay, this is
still
funny. But I didn't like get any of the jokes, but I was like, this is hilarious. And yeah.
So then you always had like a soft spot in the back of your heart for comedy.
And then I was actually living in Greece.
Jesus Christ.
And
So Japan, France, Greece.
I was living in Greece, and it was actually Ari Shaffir's Double Negative, his two specials. And when I saw that set me off into like addiction of stand up, to where like now like I need to watch it.
Yeah.
And now I'm obsessed with it.
So how old were you in this? So
was that 2016?
Yeah, that came out on Netflix. Yeah, I was going to say about 10 years ago. So that's when you were like,
yeah,
oh,
like
this
comedy is a part of my life. Like I'm actively consuming it. I'm looking for comedians to.
Were you in Greece for art, for visual art?
I worked there I worked at an art gallery.
Okay.
For 4 years.
Oh, so you like speak Greek?
Hey,
that's why you love Astoria so much.
Actually, I tried to avoid Astoria for like I've been in New York for 6 years, and I've lived in all the boroughs except for Staten Island, and
doesn't count.
And I was like always trying to stay away from Astoria for that reason, because like there's a huge Greek American population where I grew up. Like my mom's husband is Greek, so I have like Greek American community from home, and then I lived in Greece, and I'm like, I'm trying to get away from these people.
Hell yeah, you dirty ass Greeks. She said it. I didn't say it.
I say it all the time.
What's the difference between a Greek and a Polak? Nothing. All right, so. What I'm curious, because you're doing both things at once. You're doing stand-up, and then you also have your visual art. What happens when do you first get on stage to try? Because this whole time you're doing visual art,
painting,
I assume.
Yeah, and that's why I moved to New York. I'm like here to paint.
So Greece was before New York.
Greece was before New York.
So what happens? You graduate college, and then you're like, I want to work in some realm of visual art. So you go to Greece, or?
No, so I went to Kent State, and
Everyone in my family went to Kent State. I come from a family of golden flashes.
Go Flashes.
Literally, mom, dad, aunts, uncles, everyone went to Kent State.
Yeah, so I started at Kent State, and they have an incredible study abroad program. So I went to Italy.
Okay.
And that's how I ended up in Greece.
Okay.
Because I went to Greece for spring break, and I was like, I love it here. And so after my program finished in Florence, I went to Greece that summer, and I worked at the gallery.
Never went back to Kent State.
No.
It's interesting you say that, because I have I've heard a lot of very similar stories growing up in Florida. There's a lot of people who come to Florida on spring break, and they're like, the beach, I can make $200 a night bartending. Why the fuck would I go back to Missouri?
Yeah.
And then they just stay. So you had a similar experience, but just with, ancient civilizations that are super cool in Europe, not dirty, dirty Florida. But still, Greeks are dirty. We talked about it. So then you come back to the States after that. And that's when you go to Youngstown State?
So I kind of am in school.
Okay.
Like, so that's why I have a communications degree.
Okay.
Embarrassingly enough.
Did not see that coming. I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, I have
coming.
that because it was at the time, it seemed like the only degree that I could get pretty much all online.
Yeah.
Like all the classes.
Okay,
like,
that makes sense.
I'm working, and I'm going to school online in Greece.
Okay. So you're knocking all that stuff out.
Yeah.
Are you working at the gallery because of art, or was that just a job that you got?
Because of art.
Okay.
I'm inherently interested in it, but I would have taken any job.
Yeah. Well, and that's an interesting, because I've talked to people on this show, and they'll be like, yeah, I started working at a comedy club. And I'll be like, oh, is that because you love stand-up? And they're like, no, it's because they hired me. Like, I walked in, and they're like, you're hired. Like, we need people now. And then I've also had the opposite, where people are like, no, I sought out a job around comedy or art or whatever it is. So for you, it was kind of a happy accident.
Well, it was crunch time because I wanted to, between spring break and the end of my program was maybe like a month and a half. And I needed to have a job because the way that I was living this study abroad life was like, I'm never going to take a trip like this again. I'm spending all my money. And so I'm like, oh shit, now I'm going to like continue.
Like, change of
now
plans,
like my whole,
money.
like the rest of my life is still going to happen. So so I was talking to hotels, restaurants. I would have taken any job, but it just worked out that I worked with this woman she was an incredible gallerist, and she had something special too because I was in Santorini, Greece.
Okay. Yeah, of course, Santorini.
Yeah, and.
Oh, if it's not Athens, I don't know.
It's a popular tourist destination. Okay. So everything there is like, and all the art is like, it's just painting the white buildings in the sunsets, and that's what's for sale everywhere. But she had something different, so it was cool. I mean, she showed a lot of her family. Yeah, that's how they got it. But they were incredible artists in their own right.
Okay, and then you finish up in Greece, and then what happens that you decide? Do you come right back? Because what I'm starting to discover is a kind of a trend where every time I think I know where the story is going, I'll be like, oh, and then you went here, and you're like, actually, no. Yeah. So after Greece, is that when you moved to New York?
After Greece, I was in Ohio for maybe a year and a half.
Back to Ohio, okay.
Yeah, get those funds up. It paid off my student loans.
There you go.
And also, I didn't know what I was doing. Like, Santorini, for me, that 4-year period was like summer camp.
Yeah.
And so at my last year there, it was like, what am I had then graduated with this prestigious communications degree.
From Youngstown State.
And, I just really didn't know what I wanted to do. So I was back in Youngstown and I was working at a children's museum, and I was in charge of their maker space, which is like wood shop, circuitry, robotics.
Here we go. Let's go. Let's get some creatives
crafts.
going.
Yeah. So it was, that was a really good spot for me. And I had a lot of fun there, but then it was time to come to New York.
So what happens? Are you like, I got to get the hell out of Youngstown, I got to get to New York? Yeah. Like what? Was there a job lined up? Like, you know what I mean? Like, take us through.
Okay.
Because moving,
I'll take you through it.
You're moving, and I say this all the time, you're moving across the country to pursue something that's very hard. Being an artist, whether it's a visual medium or what we do as stand-ups or an actor or a musician, it's cool as shit, but it's really fucking hard. Because if it was easy, everyone would do it.
Yeah.
And it's also frowned upon. I heard an interview with Jon Stewart where he's like, if someone says they want to be an astronaut, everyone's like, good for you. And it's like, there's only 7 of them. Yeah. There's like musicians everywhere. So you decide, now correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I'm tracking, you decide, I got to get out of here. I've got to get to New York to continue to pursue art.
I got to get out of here because I'm in a marriage that I don't want to be in.
I always forget about that. Because you talk about this on stage and I forget about it all the time.
Yeah, so when I was in Greece, I got married.
Yeah.
And, I actually got married in Albania, but...
Is he Albanian?
He's Albanian.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but I met him in Santorini, and we got married in Albania, very young.
Yep.
And I just needed to. I honestly, this is a problem for me, and this is a reoccurring pattern. I've been unable to end relationships without leaving the country.
Really?
Yeah.
Just
it's
not like, hey, I'm out of here. You're like, I'm gone.
No, it's every time that I've made the decision that the relationship is over, it's been met with, you're stressed out. You're really depressed.
Really? Something's
wrong. I can't leave you like this.
People can't just take no for an answer, huh?
Yeah. And then, so that was happening. And
so is that happens in Greece?
It happens in America. Like we're living with,
I didn't know if he's in Youngstown with you.
He comes.
Okay. So he's hanging out in Youngstown.
He comes. Yeah. And I'm like, I gotta get away.
Okay.
And so You're got
like, fuck art, fuck Youngstown, fuck all this. I
went on the guy. I planned 2 artist residencies. It was like in the summer. So I went in 2019. I went to the Czech Republic, which is like my heritage, and I did a residency there in Pilsen, and then I went and then I was in Greece for a little bit, but then the second residency that I did that summer was in France.
Okay.
And that's where I met the Japanese artist who then...
How are you getting the residencies? Because I know
emails.
Okay, that's it?
Send email.
So you just send like your portfolio of work, you send the
Yeah.
email, and then you get... Now with the residencies, is that something... Because I only know it from a stand-up perspective. So like... You know, sometimes you'll like residency can mean a lot of different things.
Yeah, like you're going to get some spots. Or,
Yeah, exactly. So are they like, okay, you are to the caliber that we expect for this residency, and then they cover everything? Is this coming out of your pocket? Like, how does this work?
The two that I did that summer were self-funded, but they were extremely affordable.
Okay.
So like the fees were like a gesture, you
Yeah.
know, like they're, cause they are like cultural or cultural organizations
Yeah.
and nonprofits and stuff like that.
And I'm assuming in every other country except America, art is considered like something that should be valued.
Yeah.
And should be nurtured.
Yeah. It's always a slap in the face when I come back to this country and just like remember how little people care.
Yeah.
About what I'm doing.
I think about it. My brother like lives in Spain, and he's always like, "Why don't you just get on like an artist fund?" And I'm like, "We don't have those here."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, over here we have like housing for art. Like it doesn't matter
Yeah.
as long as you can prove that you make." It's not even a big amount of money. You just have to prove that you get paid X amount of dollars for what the art that you're providing, whether it's selling a painting or getting paid for a spot. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You can get like artist housing for like you can get all this stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. We don't have that.
do that.
We don't do that around here.
Right. Yeah. So for like a couple $100s, I'm getting studio space, housing, some meals included with one of them. But like, a residency, it means different things.
Okay. So it's,
also,
yeah.
So like a lot of residencies here in New York, they just give you studio space, and they're not live-ins where they provide housing. So
Okay.
everything is kind of different. And like ideally I would be applying for like more competitive ones where they do fund me or like pay a stipend.
And what are you getting out of the residency? Are you just learning new experiences?
Space,
or okay.
Yeah, time, space. I think.
Are you selling it? Are you like able to put up your art?
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
for shows?
So at the end of the residency, I mean, again, I think mine were like pretty self-directed. So I was like, I want to have an exhibition. So like the last week of my month residencies of each one, I will have a show.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you something, and again, feel free to not answer if you don't want to. But do you, when it comes to art, when it comes to visual art, like material things people touch and can put up in their homes and stuff, do you find that, because you're in both worlds, do you find that more accessible as far as like selling and marketing, or less accessible than stand-up?
Accessible to consumers?
Yeah. Like, well, like it's exactly. Yeah. Cause like if I put a clip and it goes viral, all of a sudden I have all these new fans, but I'm assuming you can't do the same thing. Like you could put up a picture of your art, but unless people like are actually in the room with it, or you could be like, Brenna, you're a fucking idiot.
No,
a picture's
right.
a picture.
You're right. And it's specifically my work, because I'm making work that's white on white. It's so difficult to photograph, and it's very difficult to, market online, so I'm doing it to myself a little bit.
You're like, I'm just gonna pick.
Like, how do I make this harder? Like, what if you couldn't see any of the detail?
I do the same thing with my stand-up. I'm really good at voices, and everyone in my family's like, you should do impressions. And I'm like, no, I'm going to talk about alcoholism and almost dying and make that funny. Like, let me make this as difficult as humanly possible. So obviously you answered the question. Your art, especially your particular brand of art, your style, it's more, you got to kind of be in the room to see it.
But to your point, like with social media and like feeding that like content,
I hate it so much.
Yeah, me too.
It's a topic on the show all the time.
Me too. I know. That's actually one of my gigs. I get paid to do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm so bad at it. And so for years, everyone's telling me, just put you have to film yourself in the studio. You have to put all, like the behind the scenes. And it's like, I would rather show, like videotape myself masturbating and put that on the grid before I show you what I'm doing in my studio.
Yeah.
But I have sense.
There's actually an app you can do that. It's actually
a
very profitable app.
I know, but like
no, but I mean, I understand it because it is one of those
so
things.
personal.
It's so I'm when I've tried that, the behind the scenes thing. So like I did a time lapse on my iPhone because what I used to do.
Like what? You writing a joke?
So what I used to do, this is actually how I used to write. If I had an idea and I knew it was funny, but it was like a big premise, but I just couldn't put it. I had a whiteboard and I would write the premise on the whiteboard and then I would write everything around it. And like I would literally do it like a whiteboard.
Okay, cool.
And I used to do this in Florida a lot because we had so much more space. I could just, in my like spare bedroom, I had my podcast studio and a whiteboard. And I remember I would film time lapse myself like on the whiteboard. And I was like, first of all, this was, years ago. I don't write like that anymore. I just use these little notebooks and then I talk about it on stage. But second of all, I was like, oh, this is so vulnerable. Like, this is so, like, I don't want anyone to, because one, I'm self-conscious. Two, I look like a fucking dickhead. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't want anyone to see this. Mm-hmm. So people all the time are like, do this. Yeah. And I'm like, no.
I have since tried it, and I'm getting more into it. And I will say that since like posting more of what I'm doing, whether it's like residencies or in my studio here, or even just finished products, it has opened up a lot of opportunities.
Well, and of course, we all have to get on the bandwagon. Yeah. Like I railed against social media, and then I got to New York, and they're like, "How many followers do you have?" And I go, "No, I'm funny. Like that doesn't matter." And they go, "Actually, that's all that matters." Mm. And I was like, damn it. Yeah. So since in the 4 years I've been here, I've really adopted and kind of adapted to this whole like talking into the phone, feeling like a dickhead on the street. Yeah. But I still do it. Like we do it. We have to do it. It's a part of the gig. So you get to New York. When you get here, are you set up? Did you save some money in Youngstown? Did you have a job lined up, or were you just like,
so I spent I went from Youngstown. I spent the whole summer in Europe, and then I came here.
Okay.
So I'm kind of in a similar situation. It's just a reoccurring theme for me to just like ball out and then like
I saved up all this money. I'm gonna go crazy for 2 months and then I'm fucked.
Yeah. So in the most expensive city. Yeah. So I come to New York and I am somehow able to convince a person to like sign a sublease. So I have a room.
Is this a friend?
No,
just someone
a stranger.
You met? Okay.
A stranger. She's a friend now.
Yeah.
And but she was
you just met her on the internet.
Yeah, met her on the internet. And but she and this was like my I had so many like leads out, but everyone was like, well, if we're going to be roommates, we want to meet you in person first. But I don't know why, which is
You're like,
normal.
I'm across an ocean, dude.
But I'm like, can't you just tell that I'm cool?
Yeah. I don't know if you heard me. I'm spending the summer in Europe.
And so I convince her to sign the sublease. So I have a room. It's a 3-bedroom, but it's just us, which is nice.
Oh, that's super. That's
very convenient.
You fell ass backwards into a great setup.
I really did. And she was incredible because she's a little bit older than me and had been in New York for 10 years. So it's like I land and first of all, I land like in the middle of the night. It's like 3 a.m. I don't have the keys. I don't have anything.
Where's all your stuff?
I have nothing.
Okay.
I have
you have the bag.
I have my bag. I have my art
in.
supplies.
Yeah.
And so I go to this apartment. She gave me the door code. She said the key's under the mat. It's 3 a.m. and I unlock the door and I sleep on the floor.
Honey, I'm home.
I sleep on the floor. That's it. Yeah. That's all I had. I had all my stuff with me. And then like eventually I didn't even get a bed for that space. I had like a futon, like just like the mat, like a Japanese sleeping mat. Already foreshadowing.
Get the fuck out of here. In a Japanese sleeping mat. I'm an artist. It looks like a futon mattress. It's a Japanese sleeping mat. Okay?
It is. Well, that's what the futon is, Japanese for bed.
Is it?
Yes.
Not couch.
And no.
What does the couch bed part come into play?
I'm not sure. I think that's like an Americanized idea. But
look at that. I knew Japanese this whole fucking time.
Yeah.
Suck it.
Mm-hmm. Ramen, sushi.
Well, I am fluent in Japanese.
Basically.
So you get here, all that happens, and then just take us, because you haven't started doing stand-up yet.
No, I haven't started doing stand-up.
But since you were about 22 when you saw Ari, and or 23, so you get to New York, and then what prompts you to, because you, as you said, you love stand-up, you're kind of addicted to stand-up at this point. Yeah. What prompts you to try it?
So I was reading, I was at a, like, this event that we were I'm a part of an interior
coven, yeah.
I am a part of a coven, but I'm also part of an interior design networking group, which is more of a sorority, and but we let guys come, and they. So there's chapters all over the U.S., but there's also randomly a chapter in Japan.
Okay.
And so we put on this like Japan fair where some of the members come. They're here for a week, and I'm part of organizing all of these events. Saying all this to say that I'm reading a bio at one of these events in front of a handful of people, most of them I know. But because I'm standing up in front of them reading, I am sweating. My heart is beating. I am like having a reaction that is beyond. That is just like not right for the situation. And after that, I was like...
Because you visual artists kind of keep to yourself a little bit.
I do. I tend to. I'm like, I can't live my life like this. And because a part of being an artist is doing artist talks and being able to speak about your work, or even just at a gallery opening saying like, hey guys, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
And
it does. And it's so interesting you say it doesn't matter what the medium is. Again, I keep saying that because it makes me sound smart. But it doesn't matter. You have to be able to network and interact.
You have to be
Does
able to
not
do
matter if you're a painter, a musician, a comic, it doesn't matter. You have to be able to talk to people.
And with my communication studies, I'm equipped with like, I'm able to be faced at like one-on-one and talk and like have like, I find I'm quite good at networking. And but just like the actual presenting and like being I'm in front of you, that was
when everything stops and everyone looks at you, that's when you were like
and it felt like a new reaction because you know, if I had to do speeches and stuff like for school, and so like that was always like, okay, I'm nervous, but not on this level.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Not on this physical level.
Okay, that's fascinating because you've presented in front of people before,
right?
But it just so happened at this one particular event,
and I'm like,
you had a panic attack.
Pretty much, yeah. And I was like, instead of taking a public speaking class, I'm like, well, I already love stand-up, so I'll just take the stand-up class and then by way of speaking in front of telling jokes in front of people, that's the same skill. But then I started doing open mics like in tandem with the class, and I was like, I love this.
Okay. Well, this is interesting. When you took the class, because I've had done almost 300 episodes, had a lot of people on here, mainly comedians, so that is a very common path, is to take the class and do the thing. When you're taking the class, but you're also in tandem doing open mics, was there any part of you... What did you find the more of the value in, or was it kind of like just different?
Well, they worked together.
Okay.
I would write. I would take it to the class, and that would be the first pass of it, and then the teacher would be like, tweak this, whatever, and then I would go to an open mic.
Because I always tell people, the reason I ask is because I think classes, especially because there's a lot of people in a situation where they just want to be better at public speaking, or they have to give a toast at a wedding and they want it to be a little funnier. And there's all sorts of reasons people take a comedy class. But in my path, my estimation, like kind of my experience, I'm always like, just fucking go to open mics. Trust me, other comics will tell you what you're doing wrong. They love it. Unsolicited advice is like their favorite thing. So that's why I was curious, because you were doing both, if you noticed a significant difference, or if it was just kind of like, oh, I could have just been doing this the whole time.
No one's ever given me advice after an open mic.
Okay. Well, that's good. No. Then you have good people in your life. You hear that, dickheads? Sometimes, I mean, the unsolicited, this happened a lot more. Doesn't really happen in New York, but in Florida, especially because it's a smaller scene and we all know each other pretty well. Oh, people after every time you do an open mic, people will be like, tweak this, do that. And you're like, I didn't fucking ask you.
I'm open to notes.
I would never. No one would ever. The coven thing, though, that's hilarious, by the way.
Yeah.
So then you get into stand-up, you're still doing art, and that takes us to kind of present day.
Yes.
So what do you like better?
Well, they're so different.
Yeah.
And
but what do you like better?
What do I like? They're just different parts of me.
No, I know.
Yeah, I mean, this is the question on everyone's mind. They want to know. I mean, and I will say that I think I have a more laissez-faire approach to doing stand-up because it's my second kid.
Yeah.
So it's just like the parenting style is different.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense. And
it's not that I care less.
Yeah, and it's also you.
I love them equally.
I don't have a favorite. But it is because your style is similar to mine, not in the delivery, because we have very different deliveries, but the style in the sense of it's very personal.
Oh, yeah.
You talk a lot about
grossly autobiographical.
Yes, mine, and I'm the same way. I'm more of a storyteller. You're more set up punch, but it's still the similar kind of, we're drawing from the same experiences. So I wouldn't even say, because if you were like up there doing impressions and like humping a stool, I'd be like, well, obviously the visual medium's more personal because that's like a reflection of yourself. Mm-hmm. But both of the things you're doing are a very true reflection of yourself. Mm-hmm. So I guess, yeah, at the end of the day, it's just they're different.
Yeah. And my work painting, conceptually, I am like exploring like language, memory, and like it is more existential. So it's like how I connect to
the
universe. Yeah.
Wow, that's heavy.
If you will.
That might be the name of the episode, How I Connect to the Universe. All right. So I always like to get a little background, especially when it's someone's first time. You see me taking notes. Don't worry about this. This is just for the doctors that are outside. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not worried.
It's just so I don't have to go back and listen to the whole episode. So we've got a bunch. You sent me a bunch. There's a couple that I'm really interested in, but I kind of want to go chronologically. But I have no idea because you've lived all over the goddamn world.
Yeah, actually, I know. And I was trying so hard to think of like some crazy story that happened in Greece or like abroad. But I think we just drank a little more like less, you know, it's a little more, I mean, not that I wasn't getting wasted.
When did you, so this actually prompts a very good set of questions, mm-hmm. and then we'll get into some of the stories. When did you first start drinking?
14, 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
So follow up, I always ask every one of my guests this, were you popular in high school?
I went to a small school. So
that's a very humble way of saying yes, I was popular.
I think I was
this
more
is not my first rodeo on this show.
I think I was more feared than loved.
Okay. But hey, the reason it's funny to me is because I asked that question to pretty much all my guests. And if it's younger than 16, mm-hmm. they were popular. Mm-hmm. And if it's older, 18 or older, they weren't very popular in high school. And that's kind of, I mean, it's very flimsy, but that's kind of what I've taken away from doing this show.
Like when you start drinking.
Yes. I was funny. Later in life because I didn't go to house parties and stuff when I was in high school until like the very end of my senior year. Mm-hmm. My sisters were earlier because they were popular. They had friends. Everyone I have on who's like, yeah, like 14, 15. I'm like, oh, so as a freshman, you were like, had friends. Yeah. What was that like? No, but so this is in Ohio. Are you, because my whole family's from Ohio. I know people from Ohio can get after it. You're Eastern European in a lot of ways.
Yes.
Were you getting after it like right out of the gate?
Oh yeah. It was never like let's enjoy a glass of wine. It was like let's drink.
Do you remember the first time you got hammered?
Well, I remember one time in particular. Which was early on. It was probably not my first time. So I remember it was beer pong. Like, we would always play beer pong.
That's a big thing.
And it was like you drink and then you throw up and like then you start partying. Yeah. Like
you can rally and then
yeah. And so like that was like normal for me. But this particular time I was hanging out with I was in high school. I was 15. Maybe I was 16. We'll say I'm 16 for this story. And my friend is for this story. My friend is a little bit older than me, and she invites me over to hang out with some people who are a little bit older than her. Okay. And so they're not in high school. Yeah. They went to my high school, but not at the same time.
Not for a few years.
Not at the same time. And so I get there. She hugs me and she goes, "Act 18." I'm like, whoa.
We've all been that age, so immediately your first thought is,
I'm like, I vote.
Oh my God. This last election was crazy, you guys.
And, but no, so we're drinking wild turkey, like shots of wild turkey, which is.
That's too much.
Too much. It's too much. It's way too much. And I don't even really like remember the party. Yeah. I don't really remember that much. My mom picked me up though.
Oh no!
From this party.
That's fun.
So fun.
Did you have a cool mom? or a strict mom?
My mom's strict.
Okay.
My mom's strict. She works at the school, so it's
I forgot.
So
She's a
this
chemistry
like, so
teacher,
like,
yeah.
So if like underage drinking on her watch, like other
And she
students,
walks in and
like,
she sees these guys who graduated like 5 years ago.
yeah. So it's
Mr. Smith.
Yeah.
See, you never actually did anything with your life. I was correct in that assumption.
Yeah. So she picks me up and drives me home, and then I'm throwing up into the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
She decides to record me.
Okay.
We're very judgmental, by the way. And she's filming me throwing up in the toilet, and she's like, Aislinn, is alcohol fun now? Is drinking fun now?
Oh my God, that's the greatest line any mom's ever delivered on the show.
And I look up from the toilet and I'm like, yeah.
Gotcha, Mom.
It's so fun. That's a personality.
God, so
trait
then
to be
that's
so
kind of
stubborn.
God. Yeah, it's a great
I'm
time.
having fun.
I'm having a blast. So then you get to college because
Oh,
you
yeah.
sent me one, the cipher in the
yeah.
dorm. What was that about?
Cipher in the dorm. Yeah. So I get to Kent State. I am at this time a fine arts major. None of my professors are fucking with my work. They all hate me, and
You have to basically audition for that kind of a major, right? Is it like acting where you have to?
Not really.
Like, did you have to send
Not
in
really,
a
because I
portfolio?
didn't even really have a portfolio.
Okay.
At the time, so I
Just
don't
showed up.
remember. I mean, honestly, it was a while ago, and I wasn't enthused about going to school, and so like I was like as uninvolved in the process as possible. And then also like I have an older brother who went to Ohio State, and so like during high school I'm going to visit him. We're drinking on the weekends, like. That's all I like.
And
so
that's
I
a
think,
big school.
Yeah. So I think school is
That makes
we're
Kent
gonna
State
go
look
drink.
like a community college.
Yeah. So I think like that's what school is.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know about going to class. Like I'm at this like my freshman
You're
year.
at the Ohio State University partying, and then you show up to Kent State like, what the fuck's going on here?
Exactly. Like my freshman year was like the most expensive gym membership of my life. Like I was in the rec. I was like, I did go sometimes. In my studio classes, I went to them, but once I started, I realized like my teachers weren't into it. I was like, why
Am I going to be into it? Yeah.
So anyway, but that's probably, even if they were into my work, I probably still would have been drinking. So I'm trying to make excuses. But yeah, so my roommate and one of my best friends still, Soul, shout out.
Shout out.
And she and I, we decided we're going to have some people over, just acquaint,
You're in the dorms.
cheese and crackers for 6 people.
Honestly, the way you're describing, I can't even imagine. Because this is your older brother at Ohio State. So it's not like you went to because I went to like a party here and there at like University of South Florida and then Gainesville, the University of Florida. And then I went to FAU, but I was playing football at a D1 school. So it was a little different because I was in the program. But like for you, to show up to Kent State and then because I've been to that campus, my whole family went there. Like and like their big claim to fame is like, oh, that's where those people were shot during the.
My dorm
they
was the
won't
parking lot.
Shut up about it.
They ride for May 4th.
Oh my God.
Every like cultural event like centers around like speaking about that. And my dorm, the parking lot outside my dorm is like essentially where it happened.
Yeah.
And so there's like parking spots for them.
So then you get there
for the victims.
Yeah.
All right.
So you get there though, and you're just like, this is not what I expected.
Well,
or are you still like,
No. I mean, there was
Let's do
definitely,
it.
we were drinking.
Yeah.
There was still
You're
stuff
like,
going on.
"So, let's go."
There is still stuff going on. And especially my roommate went to a high school who was like, that was a little bit closer to Kent State.
So they had so
it was
many
kind
people,
of like,
yeah.
exactly.
You're like, have you guys heard of this wild turkey stuff? Let's go. So you guys have a party.
Yeah, so we'll have some
Excuse
people.
me, a quaint get-together, as
yeah.
you put it.
But honestly, like if we had 20 people in this room, we had 30 people in this room. Like I'm not exaggerating. Like it just.
Yeah, it's a dorm room.
Yeah, like it was crazy.
They're not
And it
known for
was
their
packed.
spaciousness.
Yeah, and what made it worse also like we were just like on the RA shit list like from day one because like we were like smoking pot in the room like assholes, and we would put like packing tape over the door and be like, well, that's sealed. They can't. No one can
That'll
smell
work.
this.
Did you do it in the? You did it in the toilet paper roll with
yeah,
the dryer
with the dryer
sheet.
sheet.
Oh,
Exactly. This is fresh air, and so we were just idiots from day one, but and like thick as thieves. Like we just wanted, and so there's people in our dorm. Somebody starts freestyling. Next thing you know, we're just everyone's rapping. She freestyles. She makes music.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So
I almost made a joke, but I wasn't sure who was there.
Yeah. So she does, and
just crushing.
Yeah, crushing. And so we get a knock on our door.
8 Mile's a thing at the time. Everyone's like,
exactly.
Everybody from the 313, and then all of a sudden, it's a fucking RA.
It's not just the RA.
Uh-oh.
It's the RA plus police.
Okay. Because
the RA has been knocking on our door, but we don't know because we're busy. And so it's her and the police, and they're like, okay, this is a fire hazard, like whatever. And I guess we didn't have to let them in, but we didn't know that, so we kind of like let them in, or they could just tell that we were wasted.
Yeah.
Like we were, I guess just speak for myself. I was completely drunk, and they're like,
trying to get the cops to freestyle.
Yeah, so first,
come on, guys.
Well, what was funny was one of them was Greek.
Oh, really?
I could tell from his last name he was Greek. So my mom's husband is Greek.
Drunkenly started speaking Greek?
Well, I didn't speak Greek at the time.
Oh,
I know
yeah,
I know like 3 words. So I'm like Kalimera. So I'm like, good morning, asshole. Like, I'm like.
I don't know. That's what my mom says to her husband all the time.
Yeah, like I know like 3 words, but I keep calling him Malaka, which is asshole. So like I'm addressing this officer as asshole, and maybe he likes it a little bit. I don't know. But they're just like, they're giving us this, and it's only me and her, because at this point, our dorm was connected through a bathroom to another dorm. So we were like most
Everyone
of
get
the
out,
people.
yeah.
So most of the people were on the other side, and it was just like me, her, and like a core group, because it was like, I don't know why. There's not a lot of reason.
Ride or die.
There's not a lot of
Group,
reason for what was happening. But the cops come in. They're like, okay, you guys are like underage, you're drinking. They're giving me me and my roommate sobriety tests. Like they're like, and they're like, please just follow the finger. Like just follow the finger. And I'm like, I am. I'm probably like searching for Wi-Fi, and so they're everyone's mad. And
So what happens?
So they make us dump out all the alcohol.
Yeah, that's standard.
Yeah. And then
Are you getting written up? Or are you on
we're
academic probation?
we're getting written up. We have to go to court.
Yeah, the school court and all that
well,
stuff.
not school. Court.
Oh, I'm sorry. These are real police. These aren't Kent State cops.
Oh, no.
These are
This
real
is
cops.
the yeah, Kent City, I
Yeah.
guess. And so no, we're in real court trouble, and
They don't take you out of the dorm though.
No, they don't take us out of the dorm because we give them all. They're like, okay, give us everything, dump it. They're
Give you a
giving
written
us
arrest. It's
yeah,
called a
written
written
arrest.
arrest.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
No, I'm just telling the listeners.
Yeah.
As someone who's been arrested 8 times, I'm very versed in.
Well, because sometimes I'll say I was cited for alcohol instead of being, because I'll say like I was arrested, and then people are like, oh, you were cuffed. And
yeah,
like,
so
no.
a lot of times the confusion comes in because a lot of like if I get a speeding ticket, I got a ticket. I got a citation for speeding.
Okay.
But you don't have to go to court for that normally.
Mm-hmm.
Normally you just pay the ticket and it's over unless you want to fight it. If you get a written arrest, a written citation for like drugs or alcohol or something, it's basically the cops being like, listen, we're not doing the paperwork to take you in just so you can get released,
Yeah.
but you still have to show up to court.
Right.
Like if you didn't show up to court, you'd have a bench warrant. So that is an arrest. You
Okay.
were
So I was
arrested. Yeah.
I was arrested.
You were in the system.
The first of 3 of the semester.
Of the semester?
Yeah.
The hell are you guys doing there?
Drinking.
Having a good fucking time. That's what we're doing. So this happened 2 other times.
Yeah, it's to me, not necessarily my
No,
roommate.
no.
Yeah,
But
yeah, to me.
so does Kent State eventually? Because I was one of the guys you left Kent State. Did you leave or did they ask you to leave?
I left
Okay.
on my own accord.
Well, the reason I ask is because like I got in trouble at FAU, especially when I stopped playing football because I dumped all that energy into drinking and drugs and partying all the time. I got in trouble constantly, and they were always like, "Oh, well, like if you get one more write up or whatever, you're gonna be on probation. And then if you get a single incident while you're on probation, you will be asked to leave the school."
Were you on scholarship?
I was on a partial scholarship, but
Yeah.
that was okay. Maybe that's
Well, they want that. They want my tuition.
yeah, that's true. That's especially
But,
Kent State.
yeah,
They're like,
Kent
if this
State-
was Ohio State, we'd be like, whatever.
Kent
but-
State is the most expensive state school in Ohio.
Is
It's
it
more
really?
expensive than Ohio State.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
And I'm sure it's easier. Is it easier to get into or harder?
Yes,
to
it
get into?
is because
Yeah.
I didn't get into Ohio State
Yeah,
and
was
I
gonna
got
say,
into
why-
Kent State.
yeah. So okay, so 2 other times this happens where you get in
Yes.
trouble, but okay.
Yeah, but before the cops leave, we're all like sad.
Yeah.
We're all sad in the dorm room. They took our alcohol, and then somebody shifts. Like one of the people in the room makes a shift and
Drops
like
a beat.
drops a chapstick onto a tink tink tink
Yeah.
another glass bottle, and the cops are like, if we come back to this room,
They're just like-
and there is something. And we're like, no, that's it. That's all of it. But I know it's a bottle. It's my bottle of Jack. In the
I thought, oh my god, I thought you were saying like someone was like making
no,
noise.
not making noise.
They
Somebody
literally
drops
drop
a chapstick,
something and it
like drops
it
something,
ding,
and it's
ding,
like
ding,
ting,
ding.
ting, ting,
Okay.
ting, ting, ting on this glass bottle, and the
Got
police
it.
are like, we don't want to do this, but if you make us like,
Come
search,
back.
yeah, or even they're like, are we gonna have to search? And we're like, nope, that's it, we swear, we swear. And so they
Did you know that Jack was there?
I did, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I did, because it was mine. And and then so we close the door. We think they leave, or they do leave, and then we're just like, fuck.
Party time.
Well, we took a shot and went to bed. We were like, one for the road.
Yeah.
Like,
Damn.
yeah, because
You were getting after it.
They were, yeah. It felt like a long time. Perceiving time is, especially when like under the influence is
Yeah.
something else. But it felt like they were in our room for quite some time.
It's like when you're bombing on
Because-
stage and
yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
this feels like forever. And
yeah,
they're like,
like-
it's only been
like,
2 minutes. That was me at the mics yesterday. I was like, I just got back from tour. I thought we were going to have a good time, and all of you guys are fucking giving me nothing.
Yeah, I know. Well, they were like interrogating us about like how we got the alcohol. Like that was like their number
I'm a hot
one
girl,
concern.
bro. Well, how do you think I got the alcohol? I fucking asked somebody.
Well, that's the thing. Like, and then and we got it from this guy who he's a black dude with dreads, so we called him Waka Flocka. And
Waka,
and so
Waka,
we actually
Waka.
didn't know his real name. And so they were like, so this alcohol fairy just dropped off, and we're like, yeah, that is the story. We actually have nothing else to tell you. I don't know his real name.
Yeah. God damn. What happened with the weed and the whale?
Oh, Wale.
Wale.
I knew you. Okay, so this, I've been trying to even gauge if this is, he's not relevant, but,
I need to mark that?
Wale, he's a rapper. Like,
Okay.
he had this song in like 2011.
You
it was
did
a
write
hot,
it out
it
that
was
way.
a hot, it was
I honestly just read it too fast.
yeah, Wale.
Wale, excuse me. Weed with
Wait, I
Wale.
love that. I love that you think that I could smoke weed with a whale.
That's why I was like, I obviously just read it too fast, and then I was like, did she say? And I'm like writing down my notes. I'm like, did she say weed with a whale? So Wale.
Yeah, so same year, same, my friend Soul.
Shout out Kent State. Here we go.
Yeah,
Soul,
so,
Kent State.
So Wale comes to perform.
What was the song?
I don't know. This is the one that I know is like, looking at me.
Oh,
eyes
yeah.
all sticking. Like, okay,
Love
but it's
that
like with
song.
Lady Gaga. Yeah, you love
Yeah.
it. I know you do.
It's in,
but
it's
like,
in one
but
of the
he's,
Fast and the Furious movies.
Is
Tokyo
it?
Drift.
Oh, you're
if
not.
I'm
Oh, I thought you were
mistaken.
messing with me.
No.
Okay, yeah. So that's
It's
like
when they're
his.
walking,
I
looking at
think
all the
that's
cars,
like.
and it's playing in the
I think that's
background.
like his
Yeah.
one that people would recognize.
Looking
And
at-
I don't know if
looking at-
he's
looking at me. Yeah, I
made
know
too
that
much
one.
music after that, but.
Shoot. the
Maybe
royalties on
because
that?
of this story.
Royalties on that. So what happens?
So we go to the concert. It's fun. We're drunk. We're drinking. We're smoking pot. I ate like 6 Einstein bagels before the show because I'm so stoned. So the concert was fun, but the DJ DMs my roommate on Twitter.
Okay. So the DJ reaches out to Soul.
Soul, yes. And he's like, do you and a friend want to come back to the hotel after the show.
I'm
And
assuming
we're like,
your roommate's very attractive.
oh, gorgeous.
Yeah.
And like stunning. Like
Yeah, I don't think regular people get DMs
You would like
like
pick
that.
her out. Yeah, you would pick her out. From the internet like that. Yeah. She has a look.
Yeah.
Well, she's Filipino, and so she's really beautiful, and so we're like, okay, cool, we're gonna meet Wale. That's awesome.
Got to be young.
So we go back to our dorm room. All of our friends go out to the parties, frat houses, wherever they're going, and we're waiting.
See you later, losers.
Well, we don't know. Well, we're the losers because we don't have the address.
Oh shit! So you're like,
So
all right, bye,
we're like
bye.
later,
Yeah.
and then we're like, wait, what? And not for nothing, MGK is at a frat party, and our
Okay.
friends are texting us, and like he's putting on a show, and we're like, fuck, we missed it. And so eventually we get the address. But before we get the address, we're like, our night's shot. We'll just finish this bottle of Patron.
Okay.
And so we're just like taking shots and,
Of tequila.
Yes, of tequila.
In a dorm room.
And then we get the address, and we're like, we gotta go.
Are you now? I'm curious about this because I've never been on this side of it. When you get a text from a DJ who's like buddies with a rapper, and he's like, "Hey, swing through."
Yeah.
Are you guys like getting dolled up, hair and makeup
Well,
and
we
all
were
this?
dressed
or are
from
you
the
just,
show.
So you're just okay. That's what I'm asking. So you're just like, yeah, we're just gonna go like
Yeah.
this. I don't know
like we
because
were
the
the
only
show.
experience I have with this is growing up and playing football, like living in South Florida. And I was talking to Sarah Huntington about this when she came on the show. There are women who will like, I see it in South Florida with the athletes and stuff, where they'll go to clubs and everything like that, and they like deck the fuck out because they want to meet like a husband, like an NBA husband or an NFL husband or something. So I didn't know if that was the same experience you had, where it's like, oh, we have to like deck the fuck out to go see Wale.
Yeah, I wore more makeup at this time in my life,
Okay.
but I don't know. I
You're
wouldn't
just
even
like,
know.
yeah, we're good.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know how.
Yeah,
to,
and plus you're like
yeah,
20 years
yeah.
old. You're like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, but we look good.
Yeah, of course.
We look good, and so
you weren't wearing like a t-shirt.
No, I was not wearing this, and
It's Iron Man. It's cool as shit. What do you guys know?
they probably would have liked it.
No, for sure.
Yeah, so we get.
God, to be 20 years old.
We're 18.
18.
18 at the
Oh,
time.
because
Yeah,
it's the
this
same
was
year. It's freshman year.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I added time to it because I thought you were at Kent State longer, but you did say you were only there for that year.
I was there for a couple years, but this is my first year at school.
Yeah.
And so we're 18, and
I couldn't imagine. From Wale's perspective, I can't imagine being like if I was.
also Wale doesn't want to hang out with us.
It's the DJ.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I
but
couldn't imagine from the DJ's perspective. Like if I was crushing comedy, like crushing, like doing like theaters, if not arenas, and then my feature was like, hey, I'm going to invite these girls back. I'd be like, how old are they? No, the fuck you're not.
But also, he's younger at the time too. So we're maybe
Good point.
only 10 years
I'm
younger.
sorry. That's a good point.
In like dog years,
Yeah.
like whatever.
He's an artist.
Whatever
You're
that
an
means.
artist. It doesn't. Yeah. So you go.
So we go. We're in the hotel room with this DJ and like whatever, some other guy from his posse.
He's not even there.
He's not even there, and we're like, hey, we really we thought we were gonna smoke with Wale. Where, what's he doing? And they're like, okay, yeah, he's on his way. And he does come down, and we do. We're in rotation with Wale, and what's funny is Soul brought her bowl.
Oh, really?
So it's her bowl, yeah. So so she's like, I want this to this memory, and so we're smoking with him, and he was cool. Like he was really nice, and like you said, not like annoyed that we're like young and dumb and like really drunk, but we're just talking, and we're talking about like our aspiration, like she at the time wanted to be a fashion designer. I, with my painting, and he's talking to us about creativity and just pursuing and
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And like keep going. It was actually very inspirational. And then he's like, okay, well, I'm out. And, and that's fine. And as he's leaving, my friend is like, will you follow me on Twitter? And he goes, what would that do for me? And like it just turns into this 180s completely into this total like asshole.
Wow.
And like, yeah, it made it so weird. And like, he could have said no, or he could have said, yeah, I'll follow you, and then not follow
yeah.
you. But like it like, I don't know, it struck a chord with him for sure. And so
Damn,
yeah,
he got aggressive.
He was aggressive.
What would
And
that
then,
do for me?
What would that do for me? And
So then did you hang out with the DJ or did you guys leave?
nah, we left. We left.
That has to happen to that DJ all the time.
Well, yeah. We were just like, and see.
We're out. No, I thought you guys were going to stay. And then you turn to the DJ and go, what would that do for me?
If I had only had the wherewithal. But so we're like in the lobby of the hotel though, and we're so wasted. I think I throw up in a trash can.
You love doing that.
Yeah.
Your mom comes from around the corner.
Is alcohol fun now? And it was. And then I think like somehow we get a taxi home eventually, because it's like there's no Uber, you can't like get a bus. It's like because the hotel wasn't like walking distance. It wasn't in Kent proper. It was somewhere else, like in the next town over. And so yeah, we get the car. We get the taxi home. I don't even know who pays for what. I don't even know what happens. We leave the bowl in the car.
No.
We
Soul's
leave
bowl?
her bowl in the car.
The specialty memory bowl?
Soul's bowl is gone.
Soul, I'm so sorry.
R.I.P.
Damn.
And that's the.
I want it because this seems like it's a more recent one. I'm assuming this happened in New York, the Sam Morril.
Oh yeah.
What happened with that?
Yeah, this was last summer.
Okay.
So I'm working at a custom frame shop and in the West Village, and Sam Morril comes in, and he...
For those of you listening, Sam Morril is a huge famous comedian. You should know who he is if you're listening to this podcast.
Yes.
But what happens? Because I'm very interested in this.
And what's even weirder is so his special just changed. Or have I changed? I forget the title, but his last special, Have You Changed? Or I've changed?
Something
You've
like
changed?
that, yeah.
You've changed.
You've changed.
Because this is what I thought that
Because he has that awesome bit about the...
I thought that I passed him on my way to work, and I yelled at, because I was running on time to work, and I...
Because normally the term running and on time go together.
I was running on time to work, and so I thought I saw him, and I was like, "You've changed." And then as I'm walking, I'm like, I don't think that was him at all. I think that was just like someone else. But then later that
Are you a
afternoon,
big fan?
I love
Okay.
it. I love his stuff. So I just watched it, and
That's always crazy because we live in New York.
Yeah,
So there's so many
so it's
times when a
like-
comic
I
I
was
really like special comes out and I'll just watch it, and then Universe, I'll serendipitously run into them somewhere and I'm like, fucking, and I'll just start joke quoting them.
Yeah. I didn't do that. But he...
You said you've
Well, I
changed.
guess I did yell at him that. And so, and then later in the afternoon he comes in, and I'm like, wait, what? And so I tell him, I'm like, oh yeah, like I just watched your special, and he's really cool. And so he's like, thanks for watching and everything. So he's framing 3 movie posters, and so we start talking about film, and all of the posters that he's framing are all like one director and like a very American. And I start recommending these like off the wall, like Czechoslovakian new waves. I'm like, you gotta see this, you gotta watch it. He's not watching these.
Well, he's big into movies. He loves movies.
Yeah, I know. And so, so he has 3 posters. We unroll one of them and it's damaged. So, and why this is important is because this first interaction, I was definitely like nervous, but we had a conversation and I was able to like keep it together.
Did you mention you do stand-up?
I did not mention I did stand-up because I figured he did not give a fuck.
Yeah.
I did mention, because I was also at the frame shop, I had my paintings on display, so I was like, I'm a painter.
Yeah.
I showed my stuff.
There you go.
I was like...
I'm actually a real artist. I don't know if you can see behind you. You guys fucking tell your dick jokes. I got real shit going on.
Also, at the time, I'd been doing open mics for 6 months, so I'm like, he does not give a fuck that like I'm doing this at all. And
do you remember what the posters were?
Humphrey Bogart
Okay.
film.
Got it. So you open it up, it's
yeah,
fucked up.
one of them's damaged, and so this is important because he will eventually come back again with a third poster, but this time I am completely stoned.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Ruh-roh.
Shaggy.
And not
And your
only
mom comes out of the back. Is smoking weed fun? Is smoking weed fun?
I'm like, it was fun when I started. But also there's like more people. Like there's
stuff going on.
It's a small frame shop. I'm on the phone. There's somebody
Where's
there
the frame
picking
shop
up
at?
West Village.
Okay.
And yes, I'm on the phone with a client. Someone else is picking up. So I'm like, so I come out from the back already like too busy, and it's him
And
again,
stoned.
and I'm like, yeah, too
Too
stoned,
busy,
a little,
too high.
a little too busy, and he's there, and I'm like, oh shit, and be cool.
I don't know if you know this. I'm friends with Wale.
Well, I did.
You're not the first celebrity I've ever met.
Well, I did try to kind of, when he came in, I was like, oh, did John Mulaney recommend us? Because his first wife also frames there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's hilarious. You tried to big time him.
well, and then, yeah, a little bit. And
Are you friends with John? Oh, I'm sorry, John Mulaney. I call him Baby J. But
yeah, and
what did he say? Did he answer? Did you?
well, he was like, yeah, I run into him at the cellar, as one does.
as one does. So
Yeah, so I'm super stoned, and I'm just
Yeah.
like nervous, like I can't do anything. So I like immediately just hang up the phone. I don't even know who I was talking to.
okay, bye.
Yeah, there's a fire. I like throw the artwork to whoever was picking up. I'm like later, and then but he's also with someone else, but I don't know that they're together. So I'm like, oh, like do you need help? Because if somebody just needs to pick up, that's faster than
Yeah.
like doing the order and everything. And the frame shop is really small, and even not on drugs, it
You got
it like
good at
upset me.
consolidating
Like I
steps,
don't
yeah.
like having multiple people like in that small
Yeah.
space. It's just weird.
I'm the same way at work at the restaurant because our computers are all in one spot and it's right across from the bar. So like if there's servers getting drinks or putting in orders, I'm like there's too many people. There's too many people in
Yeah,
here.
it's like someone's got to go.
Ah.
Yeah, so I was just trying to like
So you're trying to kick the other person
get
out.
rid of all the people.
Was it
I don't know who it was, but I was like, "Oh, do you need help?" And he's like, "He's with me." And I think he was a little annoyed that I was trying to help someone who he would have walked in after
Got it.
him. And also he was probably not even mad, and just all of this is happening in my brain.
Yeah, you're stoned
but,
brain.
but I'm like, good thing everyone hates me.
Are you mad at me?
Yeah, and so like
Will you watch my stand up?
can you punch up?
I've got this bit about being in a coven.
Yeah. So I like open up the poster. It's in perfect condition, but I measure it, and he's like, it's the same size as the other ones. And I'm like, okay, but like you still, and people say like do this all the time. Like they'll hand me artwork and it's like a 5x7 photo. I still measure it because like it's custom framing. Like if one thing's off a little bit, the whole thing, we have to redo it anyway.
Yeah.
So he's just like trying to go, and I'm like, oh, also because I'm like, oh, I have your email and stuff. Like, I'll just send you the invoice. Like again, like I'm high. I just want him to get out. And he's like, well, I'd like to pay now. And I'm like, okay, well, this is gonna take a minute. So I'm like putting like all the information into this computer system. And so eventually like he pays and everything, and he's like, well, what about delivery? And I'm like, oh, we can do that. We can do that for you. No problem. And so I take down his address, and
I put in a DVD of my stand up.
and yes, I take down his address, and he pays whatever. And he leaves. But also, I'm about to leave this frame shop. Like, I have another job lined up that I'm going to.
Yeah.
And so this is like the last thing I want to do at this place is like deliver this stuff to Sam Morril. And so a couple weeks go by, his order's finished, and
Oh wow, it takes a couple weeks.
At least.
Okay, I don't.
Yeah. No, a good frame shop like that.
I bought these on Amazon and then just threw my stuff in them.
Yeah, and they look good, and for that's all you need.
Yeah.
But yeah, custom framing, yeah, because like you got to order the supplies, and anyway,
it's all measured out.
We gotta get
it's
into
custom.
it.
Yeah.
It takes a long time, and if that's kind of the mark of a good frame shop is like it should take 1 month.
Yeah. Okay.
And
so if they're like, hey, we can get back to you next week, you're like, oh, you guys aren't good at this.
Yeah, you're skipping some steps. You're using something you're not supposed to be using, or like something.
And these, I'm actually curious about this.
Mm-hmm.
These frames, these are like, this is now what this poster, whatever, lives in forever.
You can reframe. You can always reframe.
I didn't know if it was one of the, because like when I go to the Met.
And in fact, you should reframe.
When I go to the Met and you see all the paintings and stuff, they're in those like very elaborate, pretty frames.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's just
those,
what
like,
they're.
Gilded. But those come off. And, because the paintings will be restored. And also, like, the frames will sometimes need to be regilded. And, and so, all of that.
Look at you guys. Regilding, reframing.
Regilding. That's, I'm trying to get into gilding. If anyone.
Shout out to the gilders out there.
Looking for an apprentice. That is my next, my next phase.
So, did you get him the thing?
Dude. So there's only 2 employees. It's me. I'm the face of the operation. I'm taking the orders. I'm measuring. I'm doing like the customer facing part. And then there's one framer who works in the basement, and he
chained to a radiator,
essentially. And so he also does the deliveries. And so he goes to take them, and he calls me, and he's like, this is a restaurant. And I'm like, no, it's not. I was like, look around. I was like, and he's
use
like,
your eyes.
Yeah.
I know you don't come out of the basement very often. Use your eyes.
And he's like, this is a restaurant. And so it comes to my attention that I wrote the address down incorrectly.
No.
Yeah. So then I have to call Sam and tell him about the error. And I'm like, hey, like, I mixed up the address. Like, can you give it to me again? And so he does, which his address is no. And
is he annoyed when you call him?
He's annoyed for sure. And
it's out for delivery.
Especially because I believe I told him like it's on the way, like my guy is coming, and he's like, okay, I need it by this time.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm on a call or whatever. He has his loan.
And then you call him.
Yeah, and then I'm calling and I'm like, hey,
just a heads up.
Just a heads up. What's your actual address? But by this time,
was the address was wrong?
I wrote the address down incorrectly.
Because sometimes like I've noticed. Working in the restaurant, we have a lot of celebrities that are regulars, and they'll put in like different emails
address.
or stuff like that. So I just wanted to make sure you legitimately it was just the wrong address.
Just wrote down the wrong address, and so I go to the framer and I'm like, hey, I have the right address. Can you take the stuff? And he's like, nah, fuck that. Like, this is bullshit, because he already doesn't want to do deliveries because he's there to frame.
Yeah.
So he's like, this is already something I'm not supposed to be doing.
So wait, you didn't just call him and be like, hey, it's the framer.
Oh, he came back.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, because I didn't realize if this was like a situation where he's out and you're like, oh, sorry, wrong address. It's actually this. Go there.
Yeah, no, and also like the frame shop, they're Turkish. There's like language barriers.
Okay.
Also, like
so he comes back
he comes back and he's
out.
like pissed, and so he's like, no, fuck that. Like I'm done doing that. like he's like, these clients don't know what they're doing, and I was like, actually,
yeah, totally.
No, I told him I was like, I made the mistake. Like, please, can you take this? And then he won't do it. And I'm like,
you're on a timetable too.
Yes.
Because Sam was like, I got like an hour.
Yeah, and I want to make sure that these get there before I stop working there, because things get lost at frame shops.
I could imagine.
Things get lost. Like that, like John Mulaney's wife, like her stuff is still in the basement. Ex-wife. I can guarantee it's still there.
Yeah.
Her photos.
She doesn't want them now.
Well, I think she's an artist. She's a photographer.
Oh,
so they're her photos.
I thought you meant they were like pictures of her
them.
and John.
No, of them, no.
They're
her fine art. They're her fine art photos. Actually, yeah, she should go pick those up. But so I take that.
Yeah, of course.
I take that. I put them on the.
If it was
the
anybody
roll
else,
thing. Yeah.
no,
If it was anyone else, like fuck them. But I'm like, okay, we can do this. Let's roll these over. It's not even that far from the shop, so I just like lock the door, and I go to take them, and so I leave them with the door guy, and I'm out, and I'm like, oh, finally, like
Did it.
check, done. And then I got he and like we're like in conversation like on the phone like a couple times throughout the day, and every time the what's it called, caller ID is like Sam Morrell, and I answer the phone like, thank you for calling the frame shop. Who could this be by chance? Like I'm like acting like it's not the only thing going on.
Thank you so much for calling the frame shop.
Yeah. And so like so when I get back, he calls me and I do the same thing. I'm like,
he's calling the frame shop.
He's calling the frame shop, and I'm like, how can I help? And he's like, am I gonna get these today or not? And I was like, I just dropped them. And I was like, no. But for some reason, I don't say, I'm like, my guy just dropped him off. I know he just put him there, but like I did it.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know why I feel weird about him knowing that I'm a fan and him knowing where, or me knowing where he lives. Like, yeah. I'm just like, that feels like, panic. Yeah. So I'm like,
no, they're there.
They're there. And I was like, check downstairs. And if they're not, like, call me again. But they were there because I personally dropped them off. Dude, and hopefully he's enjoying them on display.
God, it all almost went downhill because you decided to smoke a little weed at work.
Little weed.
This was fun. You got to come back. We've got drink tickets on the north side, mushroom trips.
Oh my gosh.
We got so much stuff to talk about still. Oh, the antique gallery.
Oh my gosh, that's my worst behavior.
Okay, well, we'll have you back on. We'll go over all these.
Good.
We'll save these for next time. Plug everything one more time.
Follow me on Instagram. I'll post like my shows there. My comedy Instagram is Absinthe Leaf, and my painting Instagram is at Aislinn Janek.
Beautiful. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. Thank you for coming on. This was fun.
Thank you for having me.
At Brennan T Comedy on all social media. Check out BrennanTComedy.com. Still on the Bro Jason tour, taking this month off, but then I will be in Denver, Dallas, featuring for the great Matt Fulcheron. Yeah, and we'll talk to y'all next week. Boom.